Okay, so we just took the body off temporarily. This truck has a twitching brake servo, which is a common issue. It doesn't happen on all of our trucks, but it does happen on some of the trucks. And this is the brake servo up here, obviously. And sometimes when the engine is running, this servo will be twitching back and forth. And this is due to interference from the spark plug. The spark plug is actually causing an issue with this servo that causes it to move back and forth. You have some options to fix this. One option is a lot of people just upgrade the servos anyway. One of the other fixes for a twitching brake servo is we sell a NGK Spark Plug Boot that has a resistor and is a suppressor boot, so it suppresses the electrical noise coming off of the spark plug that causes issues with the rest of the electronics. So I'm just going to run the engine for a second, and then you can see what a twitching brake servo looks like. So over time, if that servo is doing it every time you're running the truck, it's obviously a little bit annoying because the truck is pulling the brakes every so often, and then it will over time kill the servo. The other thing is, some people don't know this, but if you apply the brakes for too long, that servo is essentially pulling the brakes and it's just slowly burning itself out. So when you do drive the truck, you want to use the brakes as little as possible. The other thing is, if your fail-safe triggers where the remote turns off, this servo is now just being pulled, and if you leave the truck here for a long amount of time, it'll just burn the servo out. So here you can see when I turn the remote back on, now the servo is working again. And you can see it doesn't twitch when the engine is not running. It only twitches when it is running because of the spark plug issue. So now we can show you how to fix this. And we sell this on the website, but here's also the part number. This is an NGK product. And so today we'll show you how to put that on. And then it also requires changing the spark plug. To use this boot, you have to change the spark plug to a different style. But that spark plug is also the same one that comes on a lot of other two-stroke engines, so it's pretty straightforward. So the first thing we have to do is obviously get this boot off. And unfortunately, that means we have to remove this metal beam here. Now, one way that's really quick to do it is you can take the screw off on either side and then just bend this whole thing up. But if you want to do it really like the right way, we have to take basically both front shocks off so we can get access to the other two bolts, and then we can take both of these frame rails and slide them out, and then we'll have enough room to get the spark plug off. So the first thing is to just take the shock off. Alright, so that's that. I'll put this back here for now. Come on. There we go. And then now for the other side. And then obviously, remember when you take these shocks off, there's nothing supporting the front of the truck, but I'm just gonna let it hang down here, and that's fine. The other thing you can do is find like a piece of wood or something and prop up the front of the truck on that. And so now I'm good to go. I can get to all four of these bolts, and we'll just break these loose. So these sometimes have a lot of Loctite, like this one, and they can be a little tricky. You just want to make sure you have nice hex wrenches so you don't strip these. Just a second. Alright, so now this is loose with the brake servo mount. So I'm just going to lift it up out of the way, and now I can pull the spark plug boot off. This just simply pulls off. It's a pressure fit on. And then now I can take the boot off. So the way to take this boot off, you don't just pull it off, you actually have to untwist it. The wire threads into the boot. So we just twist this boot off. So here's our old boot, and then take our new boot out. The new boot has these rubber covers. So I use this smaller one. The larger one I don't think is really necessary. It goes it goes on this side over your spark plug. So this one's optional really, but I would at very least use this one. So you just press it all the way on like this, and then basically you just take the same wire, press it in the end, and then you'll feel it kind of bottom out, and then you just twist it on. It's exactly the same as the one we just took off. There we go. So now that, and then you just want to pull on it a little bit to make sure it's not going to pop off. So this is now installed, and then the this style of boot is not meant for this spark plug. So if you get this boot, you also have to get a new spark plug. So that is one of these. So the spark plug we have to replace with this style that has this on the end. So this is an NGK CMR7H, and this is just, it comes in the Bajas and a lot of the LT trucks as well. So I just need to take this one off. I'm going to use the spark plug wrench, get it in here onto this spark plug. And this one was actually barely tight, so that was pretty easy. And now you just thread it off. Now whenever you take a spark plug out, it's always, you know, a good opportunity to just check the way it looks to make sure this is the way to tell, you know, how is your engine running, if you're too rich or too lean. So if it's too rich, this plug will be black on the end, and then if you're too lean, it might be white, or even like super bright white, or like all broken up. And the ideal color is you want the tip to be like a cardboard brown color. And this truck was barely run with this spark plug, so it hasn't really started to change colors. But now we're putting the new one in, so you know, after a little bit of running this, we'll check the spark plug to see how it's running. But it just threads on exactly the same as the one that came out. Slowly turn it on until you feel it bottom out. And then now you just want to very lightly, you know, very gently, I use literally one finger, just tighten it a little bit, and then that's it. And then the last thing is to put our boot that we just installed and just press it on. You want to see that it clicks on, and then it almost hits the hex on the spark plug. So now this is in place. And the other nice thing about this boot is you'll see once we go to put the brake back where it's supposed to be, you can actually take the boot off without having to move this now. So this is a nice little upgrade because you can get to your spark plug a lot faster. You don't have to take the brake out every time you need to change your spark plug. So now I'm just going to put these screws back in and then put the shocks back on, and we're done. So once again, even though the bushing here is squished, I'm still going to leave a little bit of wiggle room here so that the shock can move around a little bit, because that helps the suspension articulate. Alright, so that's all set. And that's how to install the spark plug resistor suppressor boot. And hopefully this prevents any electrical issues related to the spark plug and twitching brake servos.